For those of you who don't know me, I'm Shiona. So let's talk about video games. Xbox, PS4, PC, all those types of games. I'm an Xbox fan myself. But let me be more specific than that. I'm going to talk about storylines. I'm sorry to say this, but there are a lot of overrated games out there with very bad storylines. They're either basic, unoriginal, or just plain stupid. Some games have such ambitious concepts that they screw up the story. I mean, if you just take a look at Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed has a really interesting concept, but as you get further into the game, the story just becomes more and more ridiculous. Let me focus more on Assassin's Creed 2, because that is my favourite. In the beginning, Lucy frees Desmond from Abstergo. Now that's interesting because in the previous game, he was just a prisoner. Finally, we get to see Desmond free. But no, Lucy takes him to a warehouse and he gets strapped in the Animus again. Two-faced bitch. But it turns out he's in safe hands. His new friends turn out to be assassins as well, who sit on their computers all day. The game makers, they focus so much on the historical character that you're playing that they just forget about Desmond and all the other people. Desmond is just a puppet. He just takes us into this new character Ezio, and Ezio has a way better character and story than Desmond has. When I go back to Desmond every hour or so, all I do is train my skills and climbing around the warehouse and fighting intruders. That's just boring. Like, there's nothing more you can learn about Desmond, he's so plain. And the other characters as well, I mean, they got a little bit more personality than Desmond, but I still don't know what the hell they're doing, what they really want. These two guys who call themselves assassins are not really assassins at all, they're just computer geeks. To me, they look like they don't know what they're doing for themselves. All they're doing is being bossed around by Lucy. And Lucy, she's also a problem. I mean, she proves to be an assassin by fighting those guys in Abstergo in the beginning. It's a cool twist that she turns out to be a Templar in the end, but why is she working for the Templars? And where are the other assassins? I only see them in Ezio's world. And this big war between the assassins and Templars, it's just plain stupid. Why do the Templars hate the assassins and vice versa? What do they have against each other? There's no reason for this hate. They're fighting over artifacts to control the world. Haven't we grown up from that already? When I first heard of this game, I thought it was a science experiment. I thought it was about a guy who wanted to discover himself by looking at his ancestors. But no, it has to be about apocalypses and gods and the end of humanity. Science and religion don't mix. That's what Assassin's Creed's doing. Desmond is such a weak character because he has no free will. Like, he doesn't go, screw this crap, I'm getting out of here, I want to go back to my bar. So what if there's an apocalypse? I want to get back to my life. If this franchise is going to carry on this stupid war with the Templars, then what's the point with the other games? So far, the only change in the franchise is a new character and a new era. The story in the entire franchise doesn't really change. Assassin's Creed 3 is just like number 2, but with a crappier character. The only change that happens is that Desmond dies. Hey, thank God for that. That's the end of his boring life. Oh wait, no. They bring him back to life in number 4. What the flip? At least Ubisoft is finally giving up on Desmond Miles. Leveling design can also link to the story structure. There are some games out there that have repetitive leveling design, and the story remains static as a result. I mean, I'm sure some of them have a story structure, but there's no evidence that it's going forward. I think a game should be treated like a book. It needs to have chapters. Otherwise, what's the point of finishing that level if you're not going to go forward? Each level of the game must be a new chapter to the story. And the best example for that is L.A. Noire. It's one of my favourite games. Not because it's a detective game. In the beginning of L.A. Noire, the cases are not really supporting the story. They're not even related to the story at all, but every time you finish a case, you get a flashback from Cole Phelps during World War II. You also access newspapers which are connected to the story, but are external. They are not from Cole Phelps' perspective. And by the time you're near the end of L.A. Noire, the cases and the story link together, which is cool. It's interesting that the cases in the end are not as interesting as the cases in the beginning, mainly because the storyline is stronger at the end. What is interesting about this story is that the conflict is not only extreme with bad guys shooting around and you have to chase them and they try to kill you but you defend yourself and all that. There's also conflict that is quite relatable to our experiences, such as Cole Phelps losing his job and losing his wife and home, all because of an affair. It's funny that out of all those horrible things happening in LA Noire, the setup from Royale was the worst event.
Get away from him, Phelps. This is my case.
Shut your fucking mouth.
I got better things to do than argue the rub with you.
I will blow your fucking head off!
Another good thing about that story is that it has a twist. I mean, of course it's a twist. Who would you expect a committed and hard-working guy like Cole Phelps to have an affair? Aren't you a naughty boy? You should know by now that every story has a character arc. The character develops themselves and learn from their journey. In LA Noire, it's done perfectly. Looking at the entire story, the story is really about friendship. In the beginning, we see Cole Phelps and Jack Kelso are not really getting along with each other. They both have different personalities. However, they're both practically similar. Otherwise, why do we get to play Jack Kelso? Obviously, after the war, the guys just went on their separate ways and were immature enough to not talk to each other. But until Cole Phelps suffers the big blow, that's when he really needs Jack Kelso, and he goes over to him to ask for forgiveness, which is a really brave thing.
Sorry about a lot of things.
Is that an apology, Cole?
It's a feeble attempted one, yes.
And the story continues with Cole Phelps and Jack Kelso reluctantly working together to solve a case and rescue the girl that they both like. And even though the ending is a tragedy, they both mature. They both respect each other. It's not a happy ending, but at least it's satisfying. So gamers need to feel satisfied when they play the game. I mean, you can't just leave them sitting there like, is that it? I've done all that hard work and the ending is that? This obviously doesn't go to all games, but when you play your game, when you finish your game, think to yourself, am I satisfied with this ending? Did the characters learn something? Did they develop? Is there a twist that offers them a chance to change? And if not, was it worth 8 to 16 hours playing that? That's just my opinion. So what do you think about this? Do you know any games that have good stories? Let me know in the comments. I just want to say thanks for watching. Thanks for taking your time to watch this. Have a nice day.